Hi. So your iPad by itself is kind of just a big iPhone. Like that's kind of gonna change when iPadOS 26 comes out and makes the iPad a bit more like a computer. But generally, the iPad is just a big iPhone. Let me move this a little closer. And there's not really a point to having like just a big iPhone, right? So there are many accessories available that take the iPad to its full potential. It turns it into a computer, an e-reader, a notebook, and I'll be going over some of the accessories that I like to use with my iPad, which is specifically the iPad Air M2 11-inch. All right, so first and foremost, the Apple Pencil. Specifically, the one I have here is the Apple Pencil Pro. This is, I think, essential for every student if you're thinking of taking notes on the iPad. Otherwise, again, it's just a big iPhone, and you can get student discounts, and in some cases you can actually get it bundled in for free with the iPad. And right now Apple's doing a student discount where you can get either the pencil for free or it's like discounted, which is really nice. So with the Apple Pencil, you're getting a really nice writing experience, right? Writing on the iPad doesn't feel like paper, but it feels nice in its own way. You get features like barrel roll, where you can like tilt the pencil and then the iPad knows you're tilting the pencil. There's double tap features to quickly switch between tools. It's a really cool little pencil thingy. However, the magnets are kind of weak when it attaches to the iPad. It's really easy to bump the pencil off like in a bag or something, or just bump it off while you're using the iPad, and that's how I got all those dents and scratches, because once I bumped it off and it fell onto concrete. But thankfully, there are cases with pencil holders that will kind of secure the Apple Pencil there so it doesn't get bumped off in your bag or something. And one such case is the MOFT Dynamic Folio. None of Apple's first-party cases come with a pencil holder of any sort, but this case that I have right here, the MOFT Dynamic Folio, does have a pencil holder add-on that you can add, but it's got so much more than just a pencil holder. Now, this isn't your typical iPad kit case. It's thin as paper and it folds like it too, so I can fold it into whatever I want my iPad to be, turning it from this kind of boring flat slab, this big iPhone, into, well, pretty much anything. When I want to write some notes down or draw, I like to use this floating mode. It angles the iPad while lifting it to a height that's easy to use. When I want to watch something or use my iPad as a second screen, I can use this floating theater mode that elevates my iPad. And as an added bonus, I can also use this mode to mount the iPad on my leg, which is really useful when I don't have a desk handy. When I'm reading or calling someone, the portrait mode is really useful, although my favorite mode is probably the dual screen mode, because it lets you prop your phone up next to the iPad. This lets me have like a lecture open on my iPhone while I take notes on my iPad, and I could see this being useful if you draw, like having a reference on your phone while you draw it on your iPad, and you could always use it to play Subway Surfers gameplay while you watch Netflix and doom scroll Reddit at the same time. The case is made of MOFT's Movis leather, which is super stain resistant. There's also the optional pencil holder that I mentioned before that magnetically attaches to the case to keep the pencil secure, and it also doubles as a ruler, and I think that added utility is really neat. So if you want to learn more about the Dynamic Folio and the optional pencil holder, check out the links in the description and the comments below to get your hands on the MOFT Dynamic Folio and use code FP10 for 10% off. Thanks to MOFT for sending this over, and now back to the video. Next up, a screen protector. The iPad is made of glass, duh. Glass is glass, and glass breaks, which is why I always put a screen protector on my iPad and my iPhone. Not my Apple Watch or my MacBook, those are different, but like for the iPad and for the iPhone, where I'm constantly touching the screen and stuff, I like to have a screen protector on there. It's always good to have protection. And my personal choice for a screen protector is the ESR UltraFit screen protector. The way you install it is super easy and you don't have to worry about dust or bubbles. You just put the screen protector in the tray, clean your iPad screen, put it in the tray, and then you just pull this tab, and bam, your screen protector is on there. And once it's on there, it'll protect your iPad screen from scratches, cracks. And the specific one that I have doesn't really affect the viewing experience of the iPad, right? Some cheaper ones might not be the best quality, but this is tempered glass, I'm pretty sure, and it still lets the screen be crystal clear. So highly recommend the ESR UltraFit screen protector, not just for the iPad, but also for the iPhone. ESR is not sponsoring this video, by the way. I just genuinely like how their UltraFit screen protectors work. It's just super easy. Next up, the Apple Magic Keyboard. This one is I don't think you need this, right? But I found this on sale, which is why I got it. I don't think it's worth the price at MSRP, right? I think it's a very, very nice accessory, but it's also got a very high price tag that makes it not worth it for most people. I did get this at a very steep discount, so if you do think you'd benefit from having a keyboard on your iPad and you find a discount on this guy, then I'd recommend it, I guess. And if you buy it straight from Apple, you can also get student discounts. Nothing crazy, but it does knock the price of the Magic Keyboard down just a notch, in case you didn't want to wait for like crazy deals or anything. The keyboard itself is great for productivity and typing, and the upcoming iPadOS 26 makes the keyboard even better, right? Because that new cursor is an actual cursor. It's not like a circle anymore, which is awesome. It does suck when you want to use the iPad as a tablet though. You need to take it out of the case. There's no tablet mode for the Magic Keyboard, right? It just opens up like that, and you can't like do any weird like gymnastics to get it to be a tablet with this case on. You have to take the iPad out of the case and use it as a tablet that way, which sucks because then you don't have protection when you want to use it in tablet mode. Also, there's no Apple Pencil protection on this, so sometimes when I slam the iPad down, like that, when I close it like that, the pencil just flings off because the magnets are just that weak. Which again is a reason why I like using the dynamic Folio plus the Apple Pencil holder when I just want to use the iPad as a tablet, right? So you can also consider just getting this case and the next item on this list, ow, which is a Bluetooth keyboard. As mentioned before, the Magic Keyboard is definitely steep, so a better option for a lot of people is to just get a Bluetooth keyboard and pair it with a case like this. It doesn't have to be this one that I'm talking about specifically. Any Bluetooth keyboard works. I just like this one though because it's a mechanical keyboard. It's pretty much a full-size keyboard with a number pad and everything, even though I barely use this, but it's nice to have. It's really good for productivity, especially if you work at a desk a lot. It would be better than the Magic Keyboard. Like right now, my setup for when I want to use the iPad on a desk is I just have the iPad connected to my dongle, which connects to my monitor, my keyboard, and my mouse with a KVM switch. And then I have the dynamic Folio just kind of sitting here to use as like a second display that I can touch and everything, which is really nice. And then I have this full big display for when I want to do work on my iPad on a big screen. And if you want to have a setup like this on the go, you still can. You probably just want to carry something a little smaller than this. My recommendation for a smaller Bluetooth keyboard would be the Logitech K380. I did make a review about it really long ago, I think like 2022 or something. And you could pair a tiny keyboard like that with the dynamic Folio, as I mentioned before. You can have the keyboard there when you need it, and you can still use the iPad as a tablet, which is more than I can say for the Magic Keyboard, and it's still quite a portable setup. And if you're using your iPad at a desk a lot, then it makes sense to get a mouse as well to pair with the Bluetooth keyboard. So yeah, the mouse is really cool if you want to use a cursor on the iPad, and it's really useful when using the iPad as a desktop computer, maybe with like a dynamic Folio and a Bluetooth keyboard. One of the absolute essentials I'd say you should get for your iPad is a USB-C adapter. Sometimes Bluetooth is finicky, and I actually prefer to use a direct connection for most of my accessories. So both the keyboard and the mouse right here, they're actually not connected using Bluetooth. These guys are connected to a KVM switch, which is connected to a dongle that links to my iPad. It's also just useful to have one of these to plug in peripherals and storage drives, like connecting to HDMI, connecting an external SSD. It gives you a bunch of extra ports, and it really makes the iPad feel that much closer to being a computer replacement. And one of those things that you can plug into a dongle is an SSD. The one I use is a Samsung T7 Shield. I just have one for data management. I can just easily expand my iPad storage by just connecting the SSD to my iPad. And the T7 Shield specifically is really durable. It's got a rubber housing, so I don't have to worry about chucking it in my bag, but don't abuse it, of course. It's still an SSD. But it's reassuring to know that it's durable enough to handle daily wear and tear. And yeah, this guy is a super fast SSD. I primarily use it on my MacBook, actually. I can edit videos off of it when I have it plugged into my MacBook. I should note that iPads don't really let you eject drives because apparently the software is designed so that you don't need to, but I'm just really used to ejecting my hard drives and SSDs, and I know it's caused issues for some people, so do be wary of that. Last but not least, these aren't really an iPad accessory, but the AirPods Pro. These are awesome headphones for listening to music, watching videos. They work super well with all Apple devices. I recommend them especially because of the convenience factor, right? They're small, they're portable, really pocketable, easy to pair, fast device switching if you have multiple Apple devices. They've been out for a while now, so look for sales because they're really frequent. I got mine on sale, or wait for the AirPods Pro 3rd gen. And especially having that noise cancellation feature, it's really useful. Like for example, if I'm studying in a public area, I can just turn on noise cancellation, tune out the world, and just lock in on my studies. It's great. All right, that's pretty much it for this video. Comment your favorite accessory for the iPad down below. Thanks for watching. Thanks to MOFT for sending the dynamic Folio over. Check them out if you're interested. Consider subscribing, be awesome, and stay techie. Bye. Which is a Bluetooth keyboard. Ow. Which is a Bluetooth keyboard. But like, but it is reassuring, it's reassuring. Let's get started. I'm gonna move this keyboard out of the way so it's not bumping into me. I'm gonna put this F1 car here because it looks so cool.